Have you ever felt the need for personal space or wondered why some older folks prefer solitude over social gatherings? This intriguing story about Old Phi, Uncle Chu and Miss Kim will shed light on the importance of respecting personal boundaries and understanding social cues, especially as we age. Join us as we explore their experiences and uncover valuable lessons about maintaining harmony and peace in our relationships. You won't want to miss these insightful tales that might just change the way you view your interactions with others. Old Phi, now 50 years old, has developed a profound appreciation for solitude. When he feels the need to stay at home, he does so without hesitation. Conversely, when he desires to go out for exercise, he makes it a point to do so. This routine has become his way of balancing his need for personal space with his health and well-being. Even when friends come to visit, Old Phi prefers to meet them at a restaurant rather than bringing them into his home. This preference often raises questions among his relatives. One of them, recalling Old Phi's earlier years, asked, "You were so warm before. How have you become so indifferent now?" Old Phi explains that as people age, their lifestyles and preferences evolve. He believes that his mindset has significantly changed over the years. In his youth, he was more inclined towards socializing and maintaining a busy social calendar. However, with the passage of time and the accumulation of life experiences, he has come to value a quiet and serene daily life. He finds joy in simple activities, such as enjoying a cup of tea, tending to his garden, or watching his fish swim. Old Phi's relationships with friends have also transformed. He has gradually distanced himself from socializing as frequently as he did when he was younger. He realized that those who seem to come and go frequently are often not true friends. Rather than engaging in hypocritical politeness and superficial interactions, he prefers to spend his time alone or with his immediate family, experiencing genuine happiness and contentment. He believes that being fresh and free alone is far more fulfilling than being in the company of insincere acquaintances. This shift towards solitude and selective social interactions is not unique to Old Phi. Many elderly people develop their own rhythm and habits as they age. They become more particular about their social engagements and are often reluctant to visit others' homes easily. They feel that as they grow older, things are not as easygoing, and being at someone else's home might be inconvenient or uncomfortable. Therefore, they tend to minimize visits to others' homes. The reasons for this reluctance are manifold. Firstly, visiting someone can sometimes feel like a disturbance. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought you were welcome, only to realize later that you were not? It's an uncomfortable feeling, isn't it? This brings us to the story of Uncle Chu, a man who learned a valuable lesson about boundaries and social cues the hard way. Uncle Chu's story emphasizes the importance of understanding and respecting the personal space of others, even when intentions are good. Each family situation is different, and in old age, most people cannot represent the whole family. For example, perhaps your friend, out of politeness or other reasons, invites you over. You go happily, but it does not mean that your friend's family will welcome you. They might even feel that you are disturbing them. Uncle Chu, who lived next door, described himself as somewhat careless and not one to think much about social nuances. One day, he saw a high school classmate in the community and was delighted to find out that they lived in the same area. Naturally, seeing a friend from his youth made him very happy. The classmate invited Uncle Chu to his home for a few dishes and some drinks. Uncle Chu, who loves drinking but lacks drinking buddies, was particularly happy to have a classmate to visit regularly. On weekends, he would bring a few dishes to his classmate's house, but his classmate's wife often showed a strange expression upon seeing him. Uncle Chu didn't think much of it, drank, and left. However, after a few visits, his classmate mentioned that every weekend when Uncle Chu came to drink, his wife and children had strong opinions about it. They felt that their life was being disturbed. It was then that Uncle Chu realized that the initial invitation was just a polite remark. He had taken it seriously, thinking they genuinely welcomed him. This misunderstanding caused discomfort for his friend's family, highlighting how essential it is to recognize and respect the unspoken boundaries within personal relationships. The core message here is the importance of being considerate and perceptive. While reconnecting with friends and making new connections is wonderful, we must always be mindful of how our actions affect others, especially within their homes and private lives. Hospitality can often be a polite formality rather than an open invitation. It's crucial to look for cues and communicate openly to ensure that everyone feels comfortable. 1. Visiting is a form of disturbance. Many elderly people develop their own rhythm and habits, especially as they age. They often become reluctant to visit others' homes because they find it inconvenient or feel that things are not as easygoing as they once were. Sometimes visiting others can bring unforeseen trouble, making it advisable to limit such visits. Here, we explore the main reasons why visiting can be seen as a form of disturbance through the story of Uncle Chu, a man who learned a valuable lesson about boundaries and social cues the hard way. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought you were welcome, only to realize later that you were not? It's an uncomfortable feeling, isn't it? Uncle Chu's story highlights the importance of understanding and respecting the personal space of others, even when intentions are good. Let's dive into his story and see what we can learn about the delicate balance between hospitality and intrusion. Each family situation is unique, and in old age, most people cannot represent the entire household's sentiments. Perhaps your friend, out of politeness or face-saving reasons, invites you over. You go happily, but this does not mean that your friend's family will be equally welcoming. They might even feel that you are disturbing them. Uncle Chu, who lives next door, describes himself as somewhat careless and not one to overthink social nuances. Once, he saw a high school classmate in their community, only to find out that they lived in the same area. Naturally, seeing a friend from his youth made him very happy. The classmate invited Uncle Chu to his home for a few dishes and some drinks. Uncle Chu, who loves drinking but lacks drinking buddies, was particularly happy to have a classmate to visit regularly. On weekends, Uncle Chu would bring a few dishes to his classmate's house. However, his classmate's wife often showed a strange expression upon seeing him. Uncle Chu didn't think much of it, drank and left. In the following days, he continued to visit his friend for drinks every few days. But after a few visits, his classmate mentioned that every weekend when Uncle Chu came to drink, his wife and children had strong opinions about it. They felt that their life was being disturbed. Uncle Chu realized that the initial invitation was just a polite gesture. He had taken it seriously, thinking they genuinely welcomed him. This misunderstanding caused discomfort for his friend's family, highlighting how essential it is to recognize and respect the unspoken boundaries within personal relationships. The core message here is the importance of being considerate and perceptive. While reconnecting with friends and making new connections is wonderful, we must always be mindful of how our actions affect others, especially within their homes and private lives. Hospitality can often be a polite formality rather than an open invitation. It's crucial to look for cues and communicate openly to ensure that everyone feels comfortable. Uncle Chu's story serves as a gentle reminder that social interactions can be more complex than they appear. His genuine joy at reconnecting with an old friend led him to misinterpret a polite gesture as a genuine, open invitation. This misunderstanding caused discomfort for his friend's family, emphasizing the need to recognize and respect the unspoken boundaries within personal relationships. 2. Frequent visits can cause trouble. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where a simple comment spiraled into a big misunderstanding? Or perhaps you've witnessed how a few words can create a rift between close friends or family members. The story of Miss Kim, an elderly lady who enjoys socializing with her neighbors, illustrates how a casual remark can turn someone's life upside down. This story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of being careful with our words and finding the right balance in our social interactions. Let's delve into Miss Kim's experience and uncover the valuable lessons it holds for all of us. Miss Kim, who lives upstairs, once said, "I'd rather stay home alone watching dramas than visit others." This sentiment stems from conflicts she had with her daughter-in-law, which led to her son scolding her harshly. Miss Kim is quite enthusiastic after her retirement. She dances in the square with some ladies from the community, and on rainy days, they take turns visiting each other's homes to chat and eat. One rainy day at Chia's home, the conversation turned to relationships with daughters-in-law. Miss Kim casually mentioned her daughter-in-law's lack of initiative at home and commented that marrying an only child had its downsides because they tend to be spoiled. The remark was meant to be light-hearted and casual, but somehow it reached her daughter-in-law's ears, becoming exaggerated and twisted into something far more critical. That Miss Kim was very dissatisfied with her daughter-in-law and believed she had married above her station. Living with her son and daughter-in-law, the situation became extremely awkward. Miss Kim wanted to explain herself, but her daughter-in-law adopted a cold attitude, and her son scolded her for gossiping. This incident made Miss Kim realize that frequent visits and casual conversations could easily lead to misunderstandings. She decided it was enough to dance together, talk less about others afterward, go home, and maintain a certain distance. She concluded that too many words might get twisted, causing unnecessary trouble. Communication is a crucial part of our daily lives, but it can also become a source of problems if not handled carefully. The story of Miss Kim highlights why it's important to be cautious with our words, especially when socializing frequently with others. Here are some reasons why this is important. Words can easily be misunderstood or misinterpreted, especially when spoken casually. In Miss Kim's case, her offhand comment about her daughter-in-law was overheard and misreported, leading to a major misunderstanding. This misunderstanding caused tension and conflict within her family, which could have been avoided with more thoughtful and measured communication. Gossiping or speaking negatively about others can severely damage relationships. Trust and respect are foundational to strong relationships in many cultures, including American culture. When Miss Kim's comments about her daughter-in-law were spread, it broke the trust between them and created a significant rift. This shows how negative talk can harm relationships, making it crucial to think before speaking, especially about sensitive topics. Maintaining a balance in social interactions is essential for personal peace. While it's beneficial to socialize and have friends to talk to, it's also important to establish and respect boundaries. Miss Kim realized that spending time alone watching dramas was more peaceful and better for her than getting too involved in neighborhood gossip. This balance helps avoid unnecessary drama and keeps life simpler and more peaceful. Speaking less about others and focusing on positive conversations can lead to a more harmonious community. When people avoid spreading rumors or negative comments, it creates a more supportive and positive environment. This is beneficial for everyone involved, fostering good relationships and a sense of community. 3. Different economic conditions can cause psychological imbalance. In today's fast-paced world, the concept of living independently and minimizing unnecessary social interactions has gained significant importance. One of the primary reasons for this shift is the noticeable difference in economic status among families, even within the same community. When families with varying economic backgrounds frequently visit each other, it can lead to feelings of inferiority and jealousy. The wealthier family might unintentionally showcase their prosperity, making the less affluent family feel uncomfortable. This comparison creates a psychological gap and adds a mental burden which can disrupt peace of mind. By choosing to live independently, we can avoid these unnecessary comparisons. Each family has its own unique situation, and it's essential to focus on our own lives rather than constantly comparing ourselves to others. This approach helps maintain inner peace and prevents the mental stress that comes with envy and jealousy. Furthermore, today's life is exhausting, with people often too busy to engage in meaningful social interactions. Traditional celebrations like New Year greetings have lost their charm as people prefer to stay home, rest, and browse their phones. This shift indicates that life has become too demanding, leaving little room for genuine connections. Living independently also means valuing solitude, a concept that many people misunderstand. Solitude does not equate to loneliness or having no friends. It means being comfortable with oneself and finding contentment in one's own company. As we age, this becomes even more important because people around us may gradually leave, and being able to cope with solitude helps us face future challenges. Additionally, avoiding frequent visits and social obligations reduces physical and mental stress, especially for the elderly. Hosting guests can be tiring and burdensome, leading to various troubles. Learning to be alone and enjoying one's own company becomes a vital skill for maintaining well-being.